Hello everybody and welcome back to a special video here today on RJ's Trains. Over the last 3 months of school, I've accumulated a lot of trains, purchasing them and whatnot, and I just wanted to show them off here today in this video so we could just get one big video showing everything off at one time. And in future subsequent videos, I'll be making special videos focused just on the trains that you see in this video. So be on the lookout for that. But with that, let's dig into this pile of trains. First up is an MTH TIU. Now, I've been looking for a DCS system for quite a while now. I'm now up to about a dozen MTH locomotives, and with MTH going out of business, although the proto sounds and DCS stuff is still going to be produced, I just wanted to make sure I got this up before they became impossible to find. And about a week after I purchased this, MTH announced that they're going to be doing a new TIU WIU combo instead of having to purchase both units separately, which I did. But nevertheless, I'm glad I picked this up, and I do plan on doing a full video detailing how to install this on the layout, because like I've said in previous videos, there are a lot of videos out there that show you how to use DCS, but there aren't a lot of videos out there that show you how to hook up DCS. So that's what I plan on doing, and that'll probably be my next video out so I can run all of my future locomotives with DCS. Next up, we have a post-war item, still new in the box. Let's carefully unpackage it here. So after destroying the box is this New York Central 6462 gondola. I have 4 post-war gondolas already, but I didn't have one that's a New York Central on it. Now, this did originally come with barrels, and it didn't come with barrels this time, where I got it from, but I'll pick up the barrel sometime. Need to clean it up a little bit, but a great addition to my post-war collection. Next up is the second post-war item. This one is another thing that I've been looking for quite a while, and it's not that it's rare, it's just that it was never really in a time or place to pick it up, but is a 64-67 Lehigh Valley red hopper. Classic Lionel post-war item, built January of 1948. Beautiful piece and a great addition to the collection. And one more boring thing before we jump into the more exciting modern O-scale stuff. I've got this little 1/48 scale station wagon. Picked this up at a Target. And Target's a great place to find, cars for your layout, along with like CVS. Only cost a few bucks, but nice addition to the layout. We have a MTH Rail King Long Island Railroad flat car with a couple of 1954 Ford pickup trucks on it. This is a stunning flat car. If you didn't know and you looked at this flat car, you probably would think it's Premier. A lot of detail in it, and it's a scale-sized flat car, and of course the trucks are beautifully detailed with the great Long Island Railroad Keystone logo on the side. Next up is another Long Island Railroad piece. This is also Rail King. It is a Long Island Railroad gondola with a few crates in it, and as you'll probably see a lot in this video, anything that has Long Island on the side, I instantly fall in love with. Just another great addition to the collection. Next up is another MTH Rail King model. This is a Rescue 2 New York City Fire Department boxcar, and it even has a 9/11 memorial on the side of it, right here. And Rescue 2 is the Brooklyn Rescue Company, and my dad, he actually had a couple of buddies who served in Rescue 2. And it's a really nice boxcar with the red, white, and blue colors. And again, this is going to be a little theme that you see here with some of the items that I'm unboxing. Next up here, we have another MTH Rail King model. This one is a flat car with a 1/64 scale fire truck on it. Really cool flat car. This is actually from the late 90s, so it's pretty old. It's older than me, but it's a beautiful car, and it's going to go great with the box car and a couple of the other cars. An interesting note is that it's a company 234 on the side, and my grandfather actually was part of FIDNY 237, so only 3 numbers off. Maybe I'll have to renumber it. Next up, we have another MTH Rail King car here. This one is a fire rescue tank car sort of deal, and once again this is painted up for Rescue 2 Fidney out of New York. Another beautiful car, goes great with the box car, and so that makes 3 fire department train cars. So I think you've got the theme now, but beautifully detailed. Even the hose up top here is really nicely detailed. The water spigot moves, and so maybe I'll have to set up a video with this putting out the fire up on my layout. But another beautiful freight car. Next up is another MTH Rail King box car. This one is also a New York Fire Department box car. Now this one, they did not get the Fidney license for it, but nevertheless it's still a beautiful box car honoring the firemen of New York City. And another beautiful police piece to be added to my collection. For those of you who have been around my channel for quite some time now, you might remember from back in June, I did a video showing off all my baseball themed items, and I am a huge New York Mets fan. And probably about 15 years ago, MTH held the license to MLB, and they produced a lot of cars to go with it. But this is a Rail King High Cube box car. It's actually a lot heavier, made of a more durable plastic. It even had some underframe detail here on the bottom. But it's a lot nicer than my newer MTH Rail King High Cube box cars, which is quite surprising. But beautiful car with the older style Mets logo with the black background behind it. But beautiful car, prized piece in my collection. These things are really hard to find, and I'm really glad it's been added to my collection. Well, we aren't quite done with all the fire vehicles yet. This is another MTH Rail King flat car, and this one has 2 1950 style chief cars on it. Labeled for the MTH Fire Department. Another really cool car, great addition to a future fire department train. Next up, we have another MTH Rail King box car. This one is labeled up for Bonham's Turkish Taffy, which is manufactured in Brooklyn, New York. Great colors with the light blue and cream, great graphics on the side, and the logo kind of reminds me of the Brooklyn Dodgers logo. So it's a really fun box car. It still has that Long Island theme to it, and another great addition to the collection. This is going to look great riding around behind the K4 that I have. Sticking with the Brooklyn theme, this is another MTH Rail King flat car. This one has a Brooklyn Pizza trailer on it, and it's not prototypical by any means, but it's just a really fun flat car. And being from New York, you love pizza. Best pizza in the world. I can say that as a definitive fact. And it's just a fun car to have riding around the layout. And like I said, Long Island on it. Doesn't get any better than that. So last up for the baseball cars, this is another MTH Rail King tank car, also lettered for the New York Mets. So now I'm up to 3 Mets cars in addition to the High Cube box car, and this one I also have a Lionel Mets box car. So I've got 3 Mets cars, the MLB switcher, and it's a really nice car. A lot of additional details, stuff that you don't see on the modern Rail King locomotives nowadays, which, not locomotives, but freight cars. And it's really good to see these higher quality older models in such good condition. Definitely makes me think about picking up some older MTH stuff in the future. And now on to the first locomotive of the unboxing. This is an MTH scale produced by MTH in 1992 Southern 4501 Mikado. And I've talked about this in at least one video and a couple of live streams. And Sid from Sid's Trains, he also has talked about this locomotive. But we found this locomotive at a used train store in Washington, D.C. area. And it was pretty much listed for parts. It was 80 bucks. It only worked in forward, no sounds, missing a whole bunch of details, including the steps here in the front, the whistle. It had scratches and marks all over it. And so I said, Sid, what can we do with this? Because I want a Southern 4501, and the one in the last Lionel catalog is $1,200, and I don't want to pay $1,200 for a locomotive. He said, let me see what I can do. So we bought it. Now this thing has TMCC installed in it with an electric railroading company soundboard in it, so it has modern electronics. And he's gotten new whistle, new steps out front, and he's cleaned it all up, and it's a beautiful model. I really can't wait to get this running on the layout. It's going to be a beast. And of course, to go with the locomotive, here's the tender. Sydney had to do a whole new rewiring here, as well as installing a custom coal load up in here, which is really nice. Well, and now that I had a Southern steam locomotive, I had to get Southern passenger cars. These are MTH Premier. Here's the baggage car. It's lettered up for the Crescent Limited. Now, the Southern 48501 in real life did not ever pull the Crescent Limited, but it was painted up in the Southern green paint scheme during its first excursion tour in the late 60s, 70s, 80s. And up until the early 90s, it was in the green, which is why Lionel made it in the green in 92. Because it was pulling passenger excursions, and Southern passenger trains were more often than not green. Today, though, the Southern 4501 is back in its original black paint scheme at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And definitely on a bucket list place that I want to go see and see it in operation. So here is a coach car, the Robert F. Hooke, with some passengers on the inside. Next up, we have another passenger coach. This one's the William Rufus King. More passengers on the inside. Really nice. Here's the last coach car. This one's the Henry W. Grady. Very nice detail. And last but not least, we have the observation car with the nice Southern Crescent logo there at the end. And this one is for the Joel Chandler Harris. Beautiful cars, beautiful cars. Can't wait to get these on the layout. And last but not least for this box, it's a smaller item, but cool nonetheless. This is a New York and Atlantic Railways caboose. Now, although the New York and Atlantic is a modern day Class 3, primarily switcher railroad for here on Long Island, they do have 2 cabooses on their roster for the sole purpose of, transporting crews from one crew base to the other. But another really neat addition to the collection, and it's going to look great with my MP15. Alright, now let me clean up a little bit and we'll get into that second box. And before we jump into the second box here, I just wanted to show off some of the new locomotives that I got. There's still one more in the box that I'm about to show off, but I'm really excited for these locomotives. The first up, if you saw the Model Train Talk podcast that aired last Friday, you would have seen this locomotive where I exclusively shared off there first. This is an MTH Rail King ES44AC CSX number 911, painted up for the first responders paint scheme, and more specifically firemen in general. I talk a lot about the details that I like, and I'm going to save that for a video on my channel as well. But what sold this model for me is that I actually saw it in person at the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum with my best friend Joe and Stephen Colferl. And I even got to stand on that step right there, if you can see that. But the first step on the back right-hand side of the locomotive. And it's a beast of a locomotive, and it probably makes more sense why I have all those first responders cars, because now I will have one big first responders train. Next up is not an engine, and this has been shown off in a video before, but this is an MTH Premier 64-foot wood-sided passenger car for the Strasburg Railroad. Back in March, I went up to Strasburg with my best friend Joe, who I went to the Baltimore, Ohio Railroad Museum with, and we took a ride behind 90, and it was a great day. And we stopped at the hobby store there, and I had to pick up a passenger car to commemorate the day. I just need to pick up a few more, so when Lionel does make a scale Strasburg steam locomotive, I don't have 2 different types of passenger cars going around the layout. But hopefully that should be coming soon. Next up is another engine which you've seen on my channel a lot. This is my Lionel H16-44, painted up for the Long Island Railroad in the Dashing Dan scheme. But what you may not know is that this now has TMCC installed in it. So a lot of the reason that was holding me back from being a fully command control layout was this locomotive, because I love it so much, but it was conventionally controlled. And so now it's upgraded to TMCC, and now I'll be able to run that with my DCS system. So that's fun, and expect a video on this, hopefully, in the future. And last but not least for this round of locomotives, this is an MTH Rail King Santa Fe F3 with Proto Sounds 2. This was part of an ABB-A set, but this is just a single A unit powered. And interesting story behind this locomotive is that I had a locomotive very similar to this. It was my first train ever. The only difference was that it was number 18 instead of 22. And I trashed the locomotive. I broke it, I tried to weather it, I tried to replace the battery inside, and it was just a mess. I didn't know what I was doing. And so this is my replacement locomotive. So now I got my first train set, I want to say Christmas 2005, 2006. So 14, 15 years later, I'll be able to run my first train set again, which I am super excited for. And this has very little runtime, has a BCR installed, so it's almost new, minus the dust and whatnot, but I'm super excited to get this on the layout and running it again. It's beautiful. Alright, and now let's finally dive into the last box, the last tub full of trains. And first up, we have a Menards product. This is a Norfolk and Western coal hopper, painted up with the bicentennial steam. This was a Christmas gift for my girlfriend who celebrated Christmas really early this year because we wouldn't see each other with going back home for the holidays. So she picked this up for me from Menards, and it's a beautiful car. I need the 6-pack now because I can't just have one of these rolling around the layout. Next up is an MTH Rail King boxcar. This is painted up in the CSX First Responders 911 paint scheme to match the locomotive. So this is going to go really nice with 911. Next up is another car for the layout. This is the Beast, which is the presidential limousine. And if you open up the doors, the lights flash on it. I don't know, it's more of a gimmicky tourist trap toy that I picked up at a gimmicky tourist trap gift shop in Washington, D.C. But really nice locomotive. Really nice car, I should say, not a locomotive. To complete the MTH DCS system, this is the WIU, so I can control the trains using my phone. Now, because I need to film videos with my phone and control trains with the phone, I will probably be using an old iPhone that I have sitting around the house to control my trains. And this way I can just sit at the layout at all times, kind of like having a DCS remote. But really cool, really excited to get this hooked up. Next up is this Lionel MPC High Cube boxcar painted up for the Penn Central. I have a really unique fascination with the Penn Central Railroad for absolutely no reason. And as you know, I did a video on the history of the Penn Central and why it failed. And I needed something Penn Central in my collection. And my girlfriend actually picked this up for me almost a year ago at this point at an antique store down in Georgia. But she found it, she brought it at school. I showed this off in a video, but it's good to get this back and run it on the Long Island and Southern. Next up is my very first mint car. This is a Lionel mint car made for the Railroad Museum of Long Island as part of a fundraiser for steaming up Long Island Railroad number 39. It's painted up for the New York Atlantic Railway, which is the local freight railroad here on Long Island, and the Norfolk Bank, which is a bank out east. And neat little thing, it actually has a coin slot here at the top, and it's a really nice car, really attractive colors. My girlfriend now loves mint cars, so I feel like this is going to be the first of quite a few mint cars in my collection. MTH Reefer Italian Swiss Colony table wine. And being someone from Italian heritage, I take a lot of pride in that. And now it's really cool to have something that says Italian on it. Despite the fact that the wine's made in California, just that it says Italian is really cool. And it has great underbody detail. The hatches on the roofs open up, the doors open up. It's a beautiful car. And definitely going to look good running behind some early steam locomotives. Next up is what I consider my holy grail item. I've been looking for these for years now. These are MTH Rail King Protosound 3 Long Island MP54 commuter cars. And they made these once back in like 2012. And a subscriber reached out to me saying that he found them. And he let me know, and now they're here on the collection, in the collection. They are magnificent. Now, for those of you who may not know, the Long Island Railroad used these a lot. The Pennsylvania Railroad had some, and the Lackawanna had a few. But this is the only time they've been made in this paint scheme, and they're just stunning cars. So this is the first one. This is the powered unit. This is a second coach car. And fun fact about these is that I could actually run these behind my H16-44 because they would still be accurate because they did pull these behind diesel locomotives when they were non-electrified trackage. Here is the second coach car, non-powered. Beautiful car. No people on the inside, but I can always add those later on. And last but not least, this is also another unpowered combine car. Really cool. Really cool. I'm really glad to get this in the collection. And I know a couple of my buddies out there who are also Long Island Railroad collectors. They're awfully jealous of this. This is just an amazing set and a need for anybody who collects Long Island Railroad model trains. So I promise this is the last first responders train. This is the caboose to match 911. Another beautiful car. I actually learned that this is the same tooling as the MTH Premier Line bay window cabooses. But beautiful car, great details, and it's going to look great running behind 911. So now for one of two accessories. This is a Lionel fake newsstand. Now if you remember, I've talked about getting this since it was first cataloged. Now I'll include some close-ups because I don't want to take it out of the box right here right now, but it's a really cool and I can't wait to get it hooked up, and it's probably gonna go somewhere near the train station. I don't exactly know yet, but it's really cool. No matter where you stand on politics, there's a left side and right side news for you to choose from, and really cool. Great colors too. Next up is a Lionel milk car. I've talked about these at length. I love the Lionel milk cars. They're just the best pieces of rolling stock you can get for your money out there in the O-scale market. I've got a couple of Long Island ones I need to order, but it's just a beautiful car. And I picked this up at a used train store along with 4501 and Freeport milk. Freeport is a town on Long Island, although it's not the Freeport milk, and this isn't the Freeport, New York. It's a Freeport, Illinois. But nonetheless, I can still say that it's a Long Island car. One more Lionel milk car. This one's a Fairfield milk car, and I really like this one because of the picture of the baby on it. It's just a real cool car. You don't see too many like this, and it's navy blue detailing parts, which I think is really cool. Once again, it's another Lionel milk car. I'm a sucker for these. I am now up to 5 of these, and probably by the end of the year I'll have 2 Long Island Railroad ones, so I'm a sucker. We've got just 2 cars left. First up is a Menards flat car with 2 Army Jeeps on it. Now these came in a 4-pack, so I have 4 of these cars, but I'm only going to take 1 out just because they're all the same. But I'm a big fan of the show MASH, and they drive these Jeeps around a lot. They're just a beautiful cars. The Jeeps have great detailing on them, and I'll make sure to do a full video on these. And these are going to be great for a future military consist with these. It's another Menards Army flat car, this time with an ambulance on it. And once again, I love the show MASH, and it's a mobile Army surgical hospital. So of course you see a lot of ambulances at the hospital. And so once again, this is going to look great, along with the Jeeps and the one flat car with the tank that I have. And it's going to be a nice military consist that I think is really going to look good behind the UP 4141. Alright, well, this was quite a long video. I hope that you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you aren't already. There's going to be videos about all of these products coming up in the next months. And there are videos every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you hit that bell button too, so you know exactly when those videos hit YouTube. Take care and stay safe, and have a happy holiday season.